Naeem Al-Obaidi is founded Sniper's Tube, an exclusive community of investors that is one of the first technical analysts to develop a proven method for cryptocurrency technical analysis.
I started my first gaming company when I was very young, and I think I was 12 years old, and I was partnered with a company called Machinima, and at the time it was the largest, gaming channel on YouTube, and it was a huge network of influencers and things of that nature. And from there, I developed a couple of different companies at a very young age, and I started to accept Bitcoin as currency because PayPal wouldn't let me make an account because I was under 18. So I went on Google and I typed in how to accept virtual payments without using PayPal, and Bitcoin was the first thing to come up around 2010. And I started to utilize that, and it was really interesting to me, but it was more of a hassle at the time, and then it eventually turned into something that really interested me. Around 2014, I got back into the sphere, and I started to really focus in on the developments, and that's when I started to produce videos online, and I had successfully become a full-time trader around 2017, and I chose to start my channel and start educating others based upon my success, and then that allowed me to generate a group of investors, which was really cool. And now we're starting to do PR at the highest level, which is an interesting field because what we've now realized is the prices and the manipulation that we see in the markets is truly all based on hype, and you can kind of predict where the hype is going to come from if you know how to aggregate news properly. And there's a lot of resources that people aren't aware about, like one that I'll mention right now, CryptoPanic.com. It's CryptoPanic, P-A-N-I-C.com. It's a news aggregator that will literally aggregate news for you, saying whether something is bullish, bearish, or things of that nature, and it'll look at social media engagement with those news articles and things of that nature, and allow you to really start looking into what is trending, what is actually hot in the communities, and not just hype that you see on some sort of paid promotion or paid post where it's all based upon sponsorships and really fake testimonials, in my opinion. So it's really important to understand that, because there's a lot of projects, one that I have no affiliation with, but it's a great project called Hashgraph, for example, right? They're not accepting any public investors, but their technology is, extremely ahead of where the current blockchain is. And, these are projects that people aren't really talking about because they're talking about Verge or some of these other hype coins that are just being manipulated by traders, where that's just a small picture, where there's a bigger picture here, and a huge revolution about to come. In China right now, the majority of payments are done on an application called WeChat. So the majority of people there don't use fiat currency. I mean, who here really likes to carry change and cash on them, right? I mean, for the majority of the people, it's a very inconvenient way of using currency. But that's just one application. There's so many more applications to blockchain, and we've been through many projects. I mean, we've looked at hundreds of white papers, and we've seen hundreds of projects, and there are very few that are really going to see some sort of mass adoption in the next 5 to 10 years, because for the majority of these projects, they're all going to be wiped away, in 5 or 10 years, just like it's like the dot-com boom, right? Yeah, so you're looking for infrastructure right now, right? Like YouTube was produced in 2006, and that became the largest video platform on the internet, but it didn't get, it didn't start in 2000, the internet speeds weren't fast enough. Same thing with the blockchain, it's not fast enough, right? It's not efficient enough. Therefore, the majority of these applications, like, the next decentralized entertainment platform, the next decentralized cloud computing platform, these are probably not going to be successful projects. They'll probably burn through their money by the time that these blockchains are efficient enough for them to actually have use case. Therefore, we're looking at infrastructure projects. If you guys are looking for what projects you want to invest in, not that I'm a financial advisor, however, in my personal experience, what I found is looking at projects that are primarily infrastructure, like EOS, for example, where you're able to build on top of this platform. But these are protocols built on top of what's already there to enhance and make the current blockchain better and more efficient. These are the projects that have intrinsic value right now. So I wanted to see if anybody had any questions in regards to cryptocurrencies, blockchain, anything in that realm, because I know there aren't many professionals, not that we are, however, we obviously have a little bit of knowledge, I'd say, and if you guys would like our 2 cents, we'd love to answer any questions. What's up, man?
On the trading side, are you doing any automated signals, like analysis or auto execution?
So in regards to trading, if you aren't trading, if you're day trading, you definitely want to be using, automated methods, algorithms, things of that nature, because those algorithms that are currently in place are going to outtrade you no matter what. So that's what I would recommend in that nature. Now, if you're swing trading, so there's three types of trading. There's long-term investing, where you're putting money into a project in expectations that the project 10, 20, 30 years from now is going to produce something and be significant. Yeah, exactly. The second type of investor is a swing trader, right? So a swing trader, I would say this is probably the best for most people, because this is the type of trading that you can do, once you come home from work and you log on your computer and you take about an hour to just kind of go through Binance or something and look at projects, look at technical analysis, if you are looking to trade, right? Because trading is one aspect to this whole revolution. If that's what you're looking to do, I think swing trading is, the best for those that are just starting, because that's trades that you'll execute within 2 to 2 weeks, right? In traditional markets, you're looking at 4 to 8 to 12 weeks, but the cryptocurrency market is a lot faster. There's a lot of differences. I come from traditional markets, and what I'll say is the cryptocurrency market, it's almost like the traditional market's on steroids, right? It's 24/7, it doesn't close, it's just insane amounts of volatility. So I wouldn't recommend day trading unless you're using automated mechanisms and algorithms, because you'll get wiped out. But if you're swing trading, then you can just do it off hype. And that's what, he's in, so for example, Ripple on Ellen DeGeneres, well, that's a lot of media attention. So the next time you see a pool of liquidity come to this market, guess what? A lot of that's going to go to Ripple. And you see the markets are up today. Ripple is a little bit higher than some of the other coins. It's because it's all psychological and based upon PR and marketing and hype. And there's a huge issue right now in marketing in general for cryptocurrencies, because in order for us to see true mass adoption, if any of you have read Chasing the Chasm, it's a great marketing book. It talks about the cycles of adoption. And right now we're in the early adopter phase, right? We've passed the innovator phase, and now the goal is to cross the chasm, which is the hardest point in which to cross in order to gain mass adoption. And in order for us to do that, we need marketing, obviously. Like the presidential elections, for example, they were highly influenced by social media, right? Of course, Donald Trump had a lot more engagement, therefore, people, they theorize that that's why he won, right? Now, I'm not saying that that's what happened, but obviously we need marketing, and Facebook, Google, MailChimp, all these large advertisers have all banned cryptocurrency advertising, right? But now we're starting to see workarounds and things of that nature, so that's what's becoming more healthy for the industry. But it's definitely a 5 to 10 year time frame before we see daily use, I would say. But I definitely think it's a great time in an investor standpoint to start looking at projects now, because you look at projects like Hashgraph. I mean, these projects are extremely advanced and almost no-brainers at this point, right? It's almost like Ethereum.
They're a fraction of what we know that they're going to be.
Exactly. It's almost like Ethereum back in 2013 when it was being developed and built. Like there were friends of mine telling me, listen, you have to buy Ethereum. Like this project.
$8.
Because it made sense. And now there's all these projects that just don't make sense, and it's cluttering the field. But as a researcher, you have to be able to look beyond the fog and see what projects still have that real, true intrinsic value, because there's a very small handful of them, right? And that's in a long-term investor's perspective, which is what I'm speaking about, not in a swing trading perspective. Because in a swing trading perspective, then let's just ride the hype for whatever coin's going to be hyped next, right? That's Sniper's Suit. That's actually, that's my YouTube channel, and that's also the name of our investor group. So Snipers 2, it's youtube.com/snipers if you're just going to type in the link, or type in Snipers Tube, like YouTube Snipers Tube. Yeah, I have a trading background, so sniping was, it was a thing, like you snipe those trades.
What kind of returns do you guys make?
On trading?
Trading? I would say in regards to returns, the best way to trade is to swing trade in this market, right? Because it's a volatile market and the bubble factor is definitely there. And the best way to play that is to buy the lows and sell the highs. So understanding the different market cycles, I think a lot of traders are looking at one-day charts and 1-week charts, but you really want to start looking at those 1-month charts and seeing what the actual cycles are producing with this significant amount of data, right? Because the larger the time frame of the chart, the more significant the data is. And right now, looking at the market, we're in a downtrend, obviously. were heading down. So understanding that and knowing that we're heading down, for you to hold your investments and let them, to let them bleed, it'd be, irresponsible. But as a swing trader, in regards to expected returns in this type of market, well, I would say on your iPhone, just add cryptocurrencies to your stock app and then just see the difference of percentages of variation from stocks in traditional markets to cryptocurrencies, and then you'll understand the type of opportunity there is in regards to volatility. Because in the cryptocurrency market, you'll typically see daily swings from 4 to 12 to 18%. In traditional markets, you're looking at 1 to 2%. How are you, brother?
In regards to the percentage, where do you typically place your sell orders at? Like, what is your get out point?
So that's all going to be based upon my entry into that trade. So before I enter any trade, I obviously am going to manage my risk. And the way I manage my risk is by setting up specific entry points and exit points with stop losses in order to create some sort of upside factor, is what I call it. So that means in this market, the difference between traditional markets and this market is the downside factor is a lot faster than the traditional markets where it's so much less volatility. So in order to properly maintain profits, you have to look for trades that have high upside, low downside, right? So for example, like a simple support and resistance level could give you a understanding of where to properly place that buy order and then where to also place a sell order just in case things go down. And the ideal trade would be a trade that has less downside risk and more upside opportunity.
Are you making multiple trades near that support line? Are you making 5 to 10 different trades getting down to that real low support line? Or?
No, because if I'm doing more of a quick trading style, I'm executing a trade by a trade. I'm not dollar cost averaging, which is what you're referring to. Dollar cost averaging is a method that I would utilize primarily if I'm swing trading a long-term position. So what I mean by that is now there's different fallacies to the 3 types of traders, right? There's day traders, swing traders, and long-term investors, but now there's subcategories. And then as a swing trader, there's a subcategory in which you're a long-term swing trader is what I call it, in which, for example, right now Bitcoin is trading between 6,400 and 6,800. Well, that for me is a low point in regards to RSI being oversold. So I'm expecting it to go up above 7,000 soon. Therefore, I can start dollar cost averaging those positions now, and then planning to execute those profit orders in the next 2 to 3 to 4 weeks. So, trading. If you want to learn trading, you can apply, for the most part, the majority of traditional market analysis to this market, and then you'll naturally adapt to this market. In regards to like this, specifics to cryptocurrency markets versus traditional markets, there's a lot of differences. Some include speed, volatility, and a lot of different variations of patterns as well. Like patterns in this market can sometimes fail a lot more than they do in traditional markets just because there's more volatility and manipulation, especially with volume. So there's a lot of factors of technical analysis in this market. I started my platform first teaching it, and now I've realized that people just want the information. So that's why I have my group now, which is now one of the largest groups, because now I'm just like, why not just provide the analysis for people? And now we have a team of analysts that do that on a daily basis.
One last question.
Okay, we've got time for one more quick one.
How are you tracking your cost basis and the taxes below on every single trade since you have such high volume? Are you doing it efficiently?
One more time?
How are you tracking?
Taxes.
How are you tracking your cost basis? Considering the high volume, as you know, you have to pay the taxes on every single trade. Do you have an efficient way of tracking the cost basis and calculating it?
I actually have an accountant. So my accountant utilizes Blockfolio, and there's another website called cointracking.info. So cointracking.info or Blockfolio. Those are 2 portfolio management apps, and it'll pretty much aggregate all that information for you to be able to easily allow your accountant to go through the information and understand what type of taxes to go ahead and implement there. Yeah, exactly. Now, if you're asking like,
Portfolio, you have to manually enter it, which is not very efficient.
no, there are ways to API. Yeah, you can API. There's ways to API information from the exchange straight into those apps in order for all the information in order to be placed for it. Yeah. If you go on cointracking.info, I like to allow the beginners to start with that application because it's a lot easier in my opinion. When you're setting up, it will tell you exactly where to go on Binance to export your information to go ahead and import it into cointracking.info, and it's literally just a .csv file that you put in, and it will literally aggregate it all there for you.
You got a big round of applause. Excellent job. Excellent job. Great job.
The millennials, man, tearing it up. Awesome. Love it.